And a very good day. Welcome to another Catchin' Carp Outdoors podcast. Podcast that honors Minnesota's great outdoors. Thank you for coming along here today. And today we're going to talk a little open water fishing. Yeah, the ice is on the lakes. Ice is on the pond right now. But we're going to talk a little bit of open water fishing with a Minnesota native that had a pretty good pro fishing year. And welcome back on the program. And, earlier this winter, one of the Minnesota natives won a Rookie of the Year award, Austin Felix, for the Bassmasters Elite Series, winning a Rookie of the Year. He joins us now here on the program. Good day to you, sir.
Yeah, appreciate you having me. It's always good to talk to a fellow Minnesotan about fishing.
It's kind of fishing and hockey, I think, are the two things that it doesn't matter where you grew up in Minnesota. Everybody can connect on those two things, I think.
Oh, yeah, especially this time of the year. Especially if you can't get out there, you might as well talk about it.
That is very true, very true. And first of all, congratulations on winning Rookie of the Year. Before we start talking that, just give us a little background, because as I mentioned, you are a Minnesota native. You're from here. Give us a little background on you and how you grew up fishing.
Yeah, born and raised in Minnesota. Lived here my whole life. I grew up fishing like most Minnesotans would, where it came to going up to the cabin in the summer and fishing for whatever would bite, whether that be pike, walleye at night, crappies in the springtime. I just grew up just trying to catch whatever would bite. It wasn't until my early teens when I was introduced to tournament bass fishing, and from that point it kind of lit a fire, and that was my sole focus pretty much as far as fishing. Did the team scene around the Twin Cities and around Minnesota, fished a bunch of the local circuits with a few buddies and with my old man, Dennis Felix, and that's how I kind of cut my teeth and made a bunch of buddies around here. And from there, I went and fished college fishing at the University of Minnesota for a year and a half, was fortunate enough to win the FLW College National Championship for the Gophers. And that was back in, when was that, 2014? And since then, I've basically been doing the pro fishing thing. I fished the FLW Tour for 4 years before qualifying this year for the Elite Series. And so this 2020 was my first full year on the Elite Series.
As you mentioned, you've done everything from recreational fishing to college fishing, now pro fishing. Does it differ in the level of, because I'll compare it to like baseball or something. If you're going high school ball to college ball to the majors, it's a little different in as far as the step up. Is that the same in fishing too?
Yeah, in the sense that every level step up there is the talent goes up, but at the same time, the talent kind of narrows, whereas so like the lower levels, you get a wide spectrum of talent from relatively novice anglers to guys who are really good and can do it all. And as you make the step to college fishing and then to, say, the Bassmaster Opens and then to the FLW Tour and the Elites, the top talent is still there in every level, but the lower level of talent slowly dissipate more or less.
Okay. How about as far as this year goes? As I mentioned, you won Rookie of the Year for the Elite Series here. How would you overall sum up your season here this past year?
Oh, I think it was a total success for my rookie year on the Elite Series. I fished as a pro for 4 years on FLW and had quite a bit of success. I made the Forest Wood Cup 4 times and finished in the top 15 or 20 in Angler of the Year every year, but I wasn't sure how the switch over was going to do. You know that the Elite Series the guys on the Elite Series are the best in the world, but you don't really know what that means until you're actually competing against them. So to be able to win Rookie of the Year and finish 7th in Angler of the Year, I couldn't say anything, but it was a success. It was a little bit bittersweet because going into the final event, I was second in Angler of the Year and just a few points from winning Angler of the Year. We had a rough tournament that last event down on Lake Fork, but we still managed to hold on to that Rookie of the Year event. So I couldn't ask for a better season overall.
Now, when anybody has does an interview or recapping anything in the year 2020, you got to talk about the pandemic here. So how did that affect fishing? Because when you talk social distance and all that, well, fishermen are kind of the original social distancers. We want to get out of the house. We want to go do something. So how did that affect you here this year?
Yeah, it put a bunch of big question marks. I think the Bassmaster Elite Series and I think NASCAR were the only two professional sporting events that got an entire full season in this year. And that has to say a lot to the people running Bassmasters. We usually the whole season, our 9-event season, is concluded by the end of July, end of August, around there. And this year, because of COVID, because of the shutdowns, because of having to move our events all around, they actually spread our season all the way out. Our last event wasn't until November, and it was in Texas. That did a few really interesting things because the Elite Series hasn't fished any fall tournaments down south in years. So it was a big question mark. It was new for everybody, and it caused some wild changes to the Angler of the Year list as those fall tournaments went on, and it showed out really well, I think. I think a lot of people actually liked having fall events, even if it was new. And fishing isn't exactly the best that time of year down south, but it taught people new techniques. It showed off a bunch of new guys, and all in all, it was definitely a success.
You mentioned different techniques. When you go to a lake for a week or two or however long it is, what do you have to go back and research and figure things out, or how do you prep maybe for an upcoming event at whatever lake you're going to?
Oh, yeah. We have so much media now that it's very easy, or it's a lot easier to find information on lakes, even if they're relatively new lakes to tournament fishing. There's so many tournaments going on between the BFL, the Federation tournaments, and just lower level events that by looking on the internet, you can kind of have a good idea of the size fish it takes to do well based on past tournament results. You can kind of understand whether it's a smallmouth lake, a largemouth lake, dirty water, clean water, normal techniques that are effective on that lake or in that region. And I do quite a bit of that. At the same time, you can also look at Navionics web app to look at contours or just satellite photography to kind of figure out how to get around. But that's basically what I do. You just kind of try to get as much info online as you can. At that point, it just comes down to getting down on the lake and getting on the water and kind of feeling it out as you go.
Do you have a favorite technique or favorite bath or favorite bait or something that you like to use, or do you need to have the whole library of techniques and everything available for you?
Yeah, no, I try to be as versatile as possible. When you travel the entire country fishing 9 different events, you have to kind of know how to do everything proficiently. And I think that's what helped me growing up in Minnesota. We're seeing a lot more guys coming out of Minnesota and Wisconsin who are having success on the next level, whether it be the Opens or the Elite Series. And I think it comes down to the fact we have so many lakes and such a diversity of lakes that we get to see everything. So nothing's a surprise, whether it comes to fishing dirty, shallow water, deep, clear water, whether we're fishing for smallmouth or largemouth, whether we have current, we got the Mississippi River around here, whether you have to go to Great Lakes, it's not too far to get to Sturgeon Bay or Michigan or Superior. We really get accustomed to all different types of fishing, and we get to see all three seasons in a period of 6 months. So nothing really tends to surprise the guys that make it to the next level from our area of the country.
You mentioned the bodies of water around here. Do you have a favorite lake or a favorite body of water just in the region, in the area that you like to go to?
Yeah, I spent most of my time growing up fishing tournaments on Lake Minnetonka just because that's where it was, and it's about 20 minutes from my house. Between that lake and Mille Lacs is where I like to spend the majority of my time when I get to fish at home.
How different? Because fishing is the same in different areas. You're still using a rod, still using a reel, and all that stuff. But how different is fishing in Minnesota compared to fishing in Texas or Florida or wherever you have to go for a tournament?
It changes, but like I said, we have such a diverse deal. You can always kind of look back on something similar. Like when we get to those blueback herring lakes or spotted bass lakes, like Lake Lanier, Lake Hartwell, that kind of deal, spotted bass tend to act a lot like smallmouth, where they're more aggressive, they're more physical or visual feeders. They kind of move around a lot. And so that's why you see a lot of people who are smallmouth guys, northern guys, do well on those same spotted bass lakes, those Clearwater lakes. As far as Texas fishing, whether it's Texas or Louisiana, that bayou fishing, standing timber and stuff, that's maybe the one thing we don't see a lot of is that direct standing timber stuff. So it's something you got to kind of learn to fish. But for the most part, the guys up here, you can fish anywhere in the country if you have a relatively good knowledge of how fish react to weather conditions, to seasonal patterns, and then you just pick up on a few of like the regional staples for each area. Whether it's like going to Florida, you tend to throw a lot of June bug, black and blue, that kind of stuff, or you go to the Ozarks and you tend to throw a lot of wiggleworts or brown jigs, that kind of thing. And all that stuff is things you accumulate as you fish across the country and grow.
No, obviously it's the off season for you. What do you do in the off season? Do you just kind of relax a little bit and kind of and refresh for whenever the season starts in the spring again?
Yeah, this season's been so crazy because we ended so late that it was kind of, as soon as the season ended, it was pedal to the metal, trying to get all your sponsorship stuff in order, trying to get your new boat here on time, get my wrap and my jersey. And by the time that's done, I get to do a little bit of hunting, a little pheasant hunting, a little deer hunting, a little duck hunting, and it'll be ready. It'll be time to go here in 3 weeks again.
How about goals for the coming year then? What are you hoping for here in 2021?
Oh gosh. I mean, every year the first goal going into the season is to make the Bassmasters Classic. Essentially, I feel like if you make the championship, you had a successful season. Last year, my goal number 2 was win Rookie of the Year, and that's obviously I was successful with that. This year, besides just making the Classic, it's kind of try to win an event if all possible and try to compete for that Angler of the Year again. You can't have a single bad tournament and try to win Angler of the Year, so take it one at a time and just try to be successful every tournament.
And then we'll wrap up with a tip that maybe the listeners are listening can use here. Is there a tip or a piece of advice that you could give folks, the best way to catch fish, or best way to just a tip that folks can learn from?
Yeah, there's a little video on Bassmaster website if you click on my profile, and it's one of the easiest tips and the cheapest tips I've found to lose less fish. Essentially what I do with all my treble hook baits, whether it's a crankbait, a spoon, a rattle trap, is I add a second split ring between the hook and the bait, essentially kind of make it like a chain link. And by doing that, it adds an additional point, an additional hinge point. It causes the bass to not be able to get the same sort of leverage throwing that bait back and forth. And it makes it a lot harder for them to throw those treble hook baits. And I've been doing it religiously the last couple of years, and I've watched my lost fish via treble hook baits go way, way down.
Well, we appreciate you coming on the program. Thanks for coming. Best of luck in the upcoming year, and maybe you can get that Angler of the Year trophy next year.
Yeah, it'd be something. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. That's Austin Felix, Bassmasters Elite Series Rookie of the Year. And again, thank you to Austin for coming along and spending some time with us here. Best of luck to him. And boy, sounds that'd be fun traveling the country fishing. I could get used to that. But best of luck to him and his upcoming 2021 season. Hey, that wraps up the podcast for today. Don't forget, you can always check out all of our episodes on YouTube. We'll join you next time. And don't forget, always keep that line in the water.
Catchin' Carp Outdoors has been a presentation of KDUZ, KARP, KGLB Radio, and the Ingstad, Minnesota Radio Network. Check out all our past episodes on YouTube.